A baseball season can unwind like a fantastic story, usually different than the last or next. If you go back exactly 100 years, you'll find perhaps the greatest baseball season ever recorded. In this Bird Chatter video, we are going to turn back the clock 100 years to 1920. Some final stats and regular season standings. We'll start with the standings. You see the Cleveland Indians won their division by 2 games. 98 wins was the most in baseball. White Sox had 96, the Yankees 95. They were 3 games out. You can see they did very good both at home and on the road. In the National League, it was Brooklyn Robins, 93 wins. The only team with over 90 wins, wrapping up their division by 7 games over the Giants. Giants played good defense and also played pretty good on the road, but Brooklyn played the best at home and the best on the road. A .604 winning percentage gave them first place. Now Philadelphia, last place, both the National League and the American League. The American League, Philadelphia A's, only 48 wins. Only team with 100 losses during the season. The Tigers also had a .396 winning percentage. That was very low. Philadelphia just finishing below Boston by a half a game. Cubs right there, losing records for them, and the Cardinals, they finished with the same exact record, 18 games out, 75 and 79, despite the Cubs having the best pitcher in the league and the Cardinals having the best hitter in the league. Neither one of them could get over 500. Pittsburgh finished just over 5 games. The Giants 7 games out. Brooklyn won the pennant. On to our managers. In the American League, Ed Barrow, he had a couple world titles with the Red Sox. Kid Gleason was still managing the White Sox. Tris Speaker just took over for the Indians, and with all that Cleveland went through the season, hard not to say he wasn't both the manager of the year and the MVP of the American League, as he really carried Cleveland. Miller Huggins was just starting his dynasty in New York and hadn't won the pennant yet. Connie Mack was in between, winning championships in Philadelphia. And St. Louis Browns had Jimmy Burke was their new manager, as the old manager Branch Rickey jumped over to the National League here for the Cardinals and started the farm system. John McGraw was still the most popular manager in the game. He was still managing the Giants. Pat Moran was the world champion manager for the Cincinnati Reds. Wilbert Robinson was obviously the manager of the year in the National League, taking Brooklyn all the way to the pennant. Team standard pitching, if you notice, Brooklyn had the lowest ERA in the league. The Giants, the Pirates, the Reds, all with ERAs under 3. The team standard pitching, we'll look at the ERA leaders. Brooklyn on top with the best pitching in baseball, a .262 ERA. 4 teams had an ERA under 3. The Giants, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati, all winning teams. You see Washington and Detroit, terrible ERAs, under 4 there. If you notice, the American League team's ERA is a lot higher than the National League, because that's where a lot of the slugging was going on. Not just with Babe Ruth, but especially with Babe Ruth. Definitely put the American League numbers up higher than the National League numbers as far as ERA. And another comparison I want you to take a look at is the complete games compared to games played ratio. The White Sox 109 complete games during the year, and then shutouts, a lot of shutouts, 17 shutouts, and then saves. You're seeing more complete games than saves. You're seeing more shutouts than you are saves. Didn't pitch every day. A pitcher that was a relief pitcher, you had your Monday pitchers, your Tuesday pitchers, your Wednesday pitchers, your Thursday pitchers. Whoever your starter was on Monday, he had his Monday relievers that would pitch. And he only pitched once every 4th day. So you may have pitched a lot of innings, but you didn't pitch every day. And there wasn't a player, as we'll see as we go along, there wasn't a player who came close to pitching in every other day even. On to the league leaders. National League leaders. We'll go with the pitching leaders. Pete Alexander, Grover Cleveland Alexander. He won the pitcher's triple crown in the National League. Only one with an ERA under 2 with a 1.91. Adams of Pittsburgh. Burley Grimes of Brooklyn's in there. Wins, 27 wins was the most. Again, Alexander winning the Triple Crown. Burley Grimes was probably the second best pitcher in baseball. He had 23 wins. And see, New York Giants, 7 20-game winners in the National League. New York Giants had 3 of them. Grover Cleveland Alexander topping them all with 27. See, Burley Grimes got 23 for Brooklyn. The Giants with 3 20-game winners. You see 5 National Leaguers with over 300 innings pitched. A couple more in the 290s. Alexander 363, way ahead of the class on everybody else. And strikeouts, 173, that was the most in major leagues that year. Yeah, Alexander just dominated. He was way ahead of every other pitcher. National League, American League, he was just way ahead of everybody else. 173 strikeouts, 33 complete games. You know, in a season nowadays, a pitcher tries to at least pitch in 33 games. The starting pitcher wants to start 33 games in a year. Alexander's completing 33 games in a year. And as you see, that's 5 more than anybody else. It's still way ahead of everybody else. Only one with over 30 complete games that year. Second in shutouts, he had 7. Adams of Pittsburgh had 8. And here's what I was talking about, the games played and the saves. 6 saves led the league. Grover Cleveland Alexander was second in the league in saves with 5.
The games played, as you see, no pitcher came in more than 47 games during the year.
On to the sabermetrics. Adjusted ERA plus. Alexander 166, Adams 150, Grimes 144. Shockey of the Yankees with the 245 ERA. Stan Kowalski, Cleveland 249. See a couple guys there under 3, but no one under 2. And nobody really, just that one pitcher that stands out dominant over everyone else. Bagby did have a really good season. Only 30-game winner. Led the league in wins. Had 5 more than anybody else. Had 10 20-game winners in the American League. You can see Cleveland and the White Sox. White Sox had 4 20-game winners that year. The Yankees had 2. So the winning teams had winning pitchers. And pitcher's winning percentage, Bagby at 721, led the league, led the way. So he would obviously been the American League Cy Young Award winner if there was such a thing in 1920. Leading the league in innings pitched, 339. Quite a few, Cicotte, Mays, Kowalski, Faber, all over 300 innings pitched. Strikeouts, 133 was the most, and that was Kowalski, Cleveland. And you see 3 guys in the top 10 don't even have 100 strikeouts. Hitters just were focused on putting the ball in play still. Complete games, Bagby got 30. Eddie Cicotte with 28. He might have finished with 30 had he been able to finish the season. Shutout, 6, Mays. Now you see games played, Bagby led the league in games played, and saves, Shocker with 5, and Kerr with 5. Adjusted ERA plus, Shockey actually at 156, Kowalski at 154, Shocker, Bagby down there at 133. But WAR for pitchers, Bagby at 9.0, Kowalski at 8.7, Shockey at 8.1. This is probably how the Cy Young would have finished right there. Bagby definitely taken first. Shockey probably would have taken second, and then Stan Kowalski, or vice versa. 1, 2, and 3. There's your 3 best pitchers in the American League. Runs scored wasn't something that was counted a whole lot. And you see only 2 players in the National League even got 100 runs scored. Hornsby there with 96. Bancroft with 102. But hits, 3 guys with 200 hits in the National League. That's not that rare. Kind of just a regular, normal season as far as this goes. Hornsby the leader in hits, 218. Total bases, Hornsby the only one over 300 total bases in the National League. Leading the way with 44 doubles. See Myers with 36 doubles. Myers, Brooklyn, 22 triples. Hornsby was second with 20. National League home run leader were from Philadelphia. They led the National League in home runs. They were second in all of baseball in home runs, yet they were a last place team. 15 home runs for Williams, 14 for Musil. RBIs, nobody in the National League with over 100 RBIs. 94, Kelly and Hornsby tying for the league lead there. Frankie Frisch, a defensive specialist, 77 RBIs. As walks were just getting counted, not too many guys in the National League were too impressive with walks. In fact, a very low amount of walks. Top 10 being 48. Nobody struck out 100 times in the National League. Kelly led it with 92. Hornsby with 50 whiffs. That was considered a lot. Stolen bases, they ran back then, but not like they did in the 80s. More than they do today, though. Probably more like they did in the 90s. 52 stolen bases being your leader. Frankie Frisch there with 34. No real known sluggers up in there. Top 10 hitters in the league, Roger Hornsby with 370 mark led the way. Also led in on-base percentage as two players finished with over 400 on base, Hornsby and Youngs. Slugging percentage, Roger Hornsby the only one over 500 on the slugging. Williams of Philadelphia was close, 497, 559. I mean, that's slugging 60 points higher than anybody else in the league. Your OBPS, only two guys over 900, and Hornsby was close to 1,000 there, 990. Outstanding season offensively for Rogers. Offensive WAR, Rogers Hornsby, 9.0. 6.2 is the next best. I mean, he was by far the most valuable player in the National League. Defensive WAR, David Bancroft, 4.0 defensive WAR, was probably the best defensive player that year as far as your fielding stats go. Frankie Frisch of the Giants is known for being the best glove of his day, but during that season, Bancroft was probably the front runner there for the Platinum Glove. In the American League, George Sisler led the way with a 407 batting average. But look, even T.W.I.B having a bad year, finishing in the top 10 in hitting at 334. Happy Felsch at 338. Eddie Collins, 372. Babe Ruth, George Herman Ruth, 376 batting average. Incredible. And wasn't even in the top three. Joe Jackson, 382. Tris Speaker, 388. Gray Eagle. Sizzler with 407. It's one of the best seasons anybody's ever had. On base percentage, George Ruth, 532. That set a record. Tris Speaker was close, 483. Sizzler, 449. Shoeless Joe Jackson. Eddie Collins, Ty Cobb. Slugging percentage, Babe Ruth, that set a record that year, 847 slugging percentage. That's just off the charts. That's video game crazy. George Sisler, 632 is next. Joe Jackson, Tris Speaker, Happy Felsch. OBPS, on base plus slugging. Four guys there that kind of put up the Mike Trout, Cody Bellinger, Christian Yelich numbers with over 1,000 OBPS. Babe Ruth at 1379, far ahead of everybody else. Runs scored, wasn't much of a thing in the National League, but look in the American League. Tris Speaker and George Sisler having 137 runs scored. Remember, only two guys in the National League even had 100. Babe Ruth far ahead of everyone else with 158. Hits, a lot of guys with 200 hits. 8 guys, 200 hits in the American League. Sizzler setting a hit record that year at 257. That would stand until 2004 Ichiro Suzuki. Total bases, it was George Sisler. More total bases than Babe Ruth, 399 to 388. Joe Jackson there at 336. Tris Speaker, 310. Happy Felsch, Jacobson also over 300. Eddie Collins real close to 300 total bases as well. A lot of doubles, a lot of triples. You see the doubles, Tris Speaker with 50 of them. George Sisler, 49. Shoeless Joe Jackson, 42. Triple, Shoeless Joe Jackson with 20. Sisler with 18. And Happy Felsch there with 15. Eddie Collins down there with 13. The White Sox could really move. Home runs, Roos 54 was a record. It out-homered every American League team and almost every National League team other than the Phillies. George Sisler was next with 19. But as it translated to RBIs, Ruth's 135 wasn't tremendously ahead of Jacobson or Sisler, who hit 122. Joe Jackson had 121. In fact, you see 10 guys there in the American League with over 100 RBIs. Walks, yeah, that was a record too. 150 walks for Babe Ruth. Tris Speaker was next with 97. People just did not want to pitch to either one of those guys. Nobody striking out over 100 times. Ward led the league with 84 for the Yankees. Babe Ruth didn't even lead the league, didn't even lead his own team in strikeouts. Stolen bases, Rice, he was the Flash. 63 stolen bases. Sisler was next with 42. Probably the best all-around five-tool player, him and Tris Speaker. Extra base hits, Ruth almost had 100. Sisler had 86, Joe Jackson 74. Wins above replacement. You see, it's not Babe Ruth that's on top, it's Grover Cleveland Alexander. He was just that much more dominant than every other pitcher and every other player in the game. Babe Ruth next, 11.7, George Sisler, Rogers Hornsby, Bagby of Cleveland, Kowalski of Cleveland, Tris Speaker of Cleveland, Burley Grimes, Eddie Collins in the top 10 there. Bancroft leading everybody with the defensive war, full point ahead. On base plus slugging. This is overall, both National and American League. You got Ruth, Sisler, Speaker, Jackson. Hornsby, the first National League player, finishes 5th. Eddie Collins, Happy Felsch. Total bases, Sisler, Ruth, Shoeless Joe Jackson, Rogers Hornsby, Tris Speaker. Teams ran a lot. They got thrown out a lot too. Catchers did a tremendous job at throwing out base runners. A lot of times they did not make it. Sam Rice led the league, 63. Max Carey of Pittsburgh with 52. But the caught stealings compared to the stealing was very high. Here's your 200 hit club. See, most of the 200 hit guys are around 90 to 100 runs scored. Around 30 doubles. Lots of triples. The triple was the modern day home run, as fences were over 400 feet out. So sluggers, to get their numbers, the big sluggers were the ones who hit a lot of triples. Up until 1920 when Babe Ruth started cracking home runs. There you see Sisler, 18 triples. 19 home runs, 122 RBIs, 42 stolen bases, 49 doubles, 257 hits, 137 runs scored. Overall home runs, there you see the Yankees with 115. Phillies with 64, even though they're a last place team, so learning how to win while hitting the home run was still a thing that needed to be discovered. Brooklyn down here with just 28 home runs, but almost 100 triples. And here you can see a good comparison team-wise. Stolen bases and caught stealing. Some teams were caught more than they made it. In total runs scored, though the Yankees hammered everyone with the home runs, it was still Cleveland that scored more runs. Pittsburgh stealing the most bases. Boston, with 98 stolen bases, is last in the league. They were caught 110 times. Some other numbers you can look at over here, the strikeouts and walks. Philadelphia Phillies with the 283 walks, that being the fewest ever since it's been recorded. Nobody's walked less times than them. Very impatient at the plate. 531 strikeouts. They were up there. They weren't the leader in strikeouts. I believe the Yankees were. Your team ERA leader, Brooklyn.
We can go ahead and give some postseason awards here. The American League MVP had to be Babe Ruth. We'll go ahead and call it a tie between him and Tris Speaker. Speaker's defense and leadership have to be taken into consideration as well, with Cleveland winning the pennant. He would easily win Manager of the Year, maybe even a Platinum Glove, definitely a Gold Glove for his work in center field. His teammate Bagby would take home the Cy Young Award, being the league's only 30-game winner. In the National League, Brooklyn's Wilbert Robinson would get Manager of the Year award. Old Pete, Grover Cleveland Alexander, dominating every pitcher, easily winning the Cy Young Award there. Philadelphia Phillies shortstop David Bancroft will take the Platinum Glove. And the National League's most valuable player would be Cardinal's Rogers Hornsby.
Now a game-by-game overview of the 1920 World Series between the Brooklyn Robins and the Cleveland Indians. From BirdChatter, I'm Mike Allen. Subscribe to our channel for all our compilation videos, and you can see all of our artwork we use by visiting us on Pinterest.